So here it says check whether the given ratios are equal, that is they are in proportion. If yes, then write them in proper form. Okay. So here the first one is 1 over 5 and the other one is 3 is to 15. So 3 is to 15 can be written as 3 over 15, and if we solve it in the simplest form, both the numbers are divisible by 3. So it will give 1 over 5. Clearly you can see that the first ratio that we were given 1 over 5 is equal to the other one, that is 3 over 15. So let us write it in the proper form. Okay. So how do we write it in proper form is 1 is to 5 is in proportion. So we put 4 dots to 3 is to 15. Is this clear? Now moving to the next one. The first one ratio is given as 2 is to 9. This is already in the simplest form. Let us look at the next one. It is 18 is to 81. Both these numbers are divisible by 9. So let us write it. So after dividing 18 by 9 we get 2, and after dividing 81 by 9 we get 9. So do you see we have got 2 over 9 again. So again we can say that these are in proportion. So how do we write? We can write 2 is to 9 is in proportion with 18 is to 81. Or we can also say this as 3 is to 9 as 18 is to 81. Okay. The next one, it is 15 over 45. Let us convert this to its simplest form. We can divide both these numbers by 15 itself. So we get, after dividing 15 by 15, it gives 1, and dividing 45 by 15 gives 3. Now let's check the other one. It's 5 over 25, right? So both the numbers are divisible by 5. Let us divide it. It gives 1 over 5. Do you see that 1 over 3 and 1 over 5, these are two different ratios. So let us write it down here that the given ratios, they are not in proportion. So let us write it. 15 is to 45 is not as 5 is to 25. Okay, they are not in proportion. The next one. 4 is to 12 and 9 is to 27. So if we simplify 4 is to 12, dividing both the numerator and denominator by 4, we get 1 over 3. And for 9 over 27, if we simplify it by dividing 9 and 27 both by 9, we get 1 over 3. Clearly we got the same ratio for both of these ratios given, right? So let us write that the given ratio is in proportion. So how do we write? 4 is to 12 is in proportion with 9 is to 27, or we read it as 4 is to 12 is same as 9 is to 27. The next one, it is 10 to 15. If we simplify, we get 2 over 3, and the other one is 4 to 6, right? If we simplify, we get 2 over 3. Clearly, both the numbers we have got are the same. So, we can write this as 10 is to 15 as 4 is to 6. Clear? Simple, I hope. Now, let us try this. It says if two ratios are not equal, then we say that they are not in proportion. In a statement of proportion, the four quantities involved, when taken in order, are known as their respective terms. First and the fourth term are known as extreme terms, and the second and the third term are known as the middle term. So how do we write? We write it as A is to B and C is to D. We are just representing them using some variables. Okay. So it is saying that when we say that the two ratios, they are not equal, we say they are not in proportion. Okay. In the statement of proportion, like when they are in proportion, then the four quantities that are involved, that is A, B, C and D, they are taken in a certain order. And this is in respective terms that we have got. The first and the fourth term are called the extreme terms. Which one? Let me just color them here. The first one and the fourth one. These two are the extreme terms, okay? And where you see the middle terms, they are the ones sitting in the middle, that is B and C. I hope this is clear. You can see it here as well, extreme terms and middle terms of proportion. So here clearly what you see in the images, that here we have got a proportion which is represented by these four dots. We have got mean terms here, that is B and C, and we have got extreme terms here, that is A and D. Now read this here with me. It says the first and the fourth term in the proportion are called extreme terms, and the second and the third term, they are called the middle or the mean terms. Okay, any name you can use, either middle terms or mean terms. In this statement of proportion, the four terms which we have written in order are called the respective terms. Okay, so what are the respective terms? A, B, C, D. And this is how we must write them. You cannot write A's to C, D's to B. No, make sure that you do write it in order. And what order it is? A, B, C and D. Okay, so it says in this statement, the proportion, the four terms which we have written in order, they are called respective terms. Okay. If the two ratios are not equal, then these are not in proportion. We have already discussed this, that if we are not able to find that A is to B, this particular ratio is not equal to C is to D. So we say that these two are not in proportion. Okay. Now, let's move ahead. And one more thing here, I would like to tell you that when we are going to use the method of cross multiplication with these proportions, like where we are dealing with ratios and proportion, like we did with the equivalent fractions, it's going to help us to tell whether the number is in proportion or not. Okay, so how do we do this? We know that here we can write A over B is equal to C over D. Okay, to check whether they are equal or not, we can multiply the denominators and numerators in the cross form. Okay, so here you can see that the product of extremes, what are the extreme terms? A and D are the extreme terms. So we write A multiplied by D is equal to product of means, that is B multiplied by C. Okay, so every time whenever you see any ratios, they are in proportion, then the product of extreme is always equal to the product of means. This is very important. Make sure that you do remember. What I want you to remember is, when two ratios are in proportion, then you will see that the product of extremes is equal to the product of means. I hope this is clear, and make sure that you do remember which are the extreme terms and which one are the middle terms. Okay. Now, let us move ahead. Here it says that check whether the terms 30, 99, 20, 66 are in proportion or not. Okay. So, first of all, we need to write these respective terms in order. So, here A will be for 30, B is going to be representing 99, C is going to represent 20 and D is going to represent 66. Okay, we know that how do we need to write it? We need to write it as A is to B is to C is to D. This is how we write it. So let us write 30 is to 99 as 20 is to 66. Let us check. If we do 30 over 99 is equal to 20 over 66, let us see whether these terms are in proportion or not. How do we do? We can multiply the numbers in the cross method like this, right? Or another thing we can do is we can simplify these particular fractions. So 30 over 99, let us divide 39 and 99 both by 3. So it will give 10 over 33. Okay. And here I just made a mistake. Instead of 60, it's 66. Okay. So now let us see how we can reduce 20 over 66. We can divide both these numbers by 2. So it will be 10 over 33. And do you see that we have got the same answer, same ratios for both the numbers? Hence, we can say that the given terms, they are in proportion. Okay, and how can we write them? We write it as 30:99 as 20:66. So this is what we have verified. Clear? Let's see here. It says find the ratio 30 centimeter to 4 meter, whether this is in proportion to 25 centimeter to 5 meter. Okay, we are going to compare these ratios. Okay, let us consider the first ratio. What is it? It is 30 centimeter to 4 meter. Now I want you to be careful whenever you are dealing with ratios or fractions. Always make sure that your units are same. Is that right? So because here one is in centimeter, the other one is in meters. So let us convert 4 meter into centimeter. So we can write this as 30 centimeter over 400 meters. And I'm not writing the units because in ratio or in fractions, we don't write the units. Okay. We can simplify this. It will be 3 over 40. Or because this is in ratio, we can write 3:40. Now the other one, let us find the ratio for this as well. It is 25 centimeters and 5 meters. So converting this with 1 unit, it will be 25 over 500 because in 1 meter we have got 100 centimeters. Right? Now let us simplify this. So we can divide this number by 25. Okay. So 25 times 1 is 25. 25 times 4 is 100. So let us see how much will it be for 500. So 25 times 20 will give us 500. Now clearly what do we see? In the first one we have got 3 over 40. And the other one we have got 1 over 20. So clearly these two are not in proportion. So we can write 30:400 is not in proportion with 25:500. I hope this is clear. Now let us move ahead to the next question. It says, are the ratios 25 grams to 30 grams and 40 kilograms to 48 kilograms in proportion? Okay, so let us find here. This is A is to B and this is C is to D. Okay, now let us check whether they are in proportion or not. So it is 25 over 30. If we want, we can simplify this, and on simplifying we'll get, dividing both of them by 5, it will be 5 over 6. Okay, now let us check for 40 over 48. Dividing both these numbers by 4, okay, it will be 10 and this will be 12. We can further simplify it by dividing it by 2. So it will be 5 over 6. Clearly we see that both the ratios, here we have got for A over B and here we have got for C over D, they are the same. Therefore, 25 grams is to 30 grams is in proportion with 40 kilograms is to 48 kilograms. Therefore, these are in proportion. Okay. And we can also say for this is that the product of extreme is equal to the product of means. Okay. So if you see, if you multiply the extremes, that is A to D and B to C, you will find the same answer. Okay. Now moving to the next question. Are 30, 40, 45 and 60 in proportion or not? So here let us find for 30 is to 40 whether this is in proportion with 45 and 60. Okay. So let us first find what is A over B. It is 30 over 40. And if we simplify it, we get 3 over 4. The other one is C over D, that is 45 over 60. Dividing this by 5, we get 9 over 12. Dividing this by 3, we get 3 over 4. So what do we notice? We clearly see that in both the cases, we have got the same answer, that is 3 over 4. So clearly we can say that 30 is to 40 is equal to 45 is to 60. Okay. Or we can say that 30 is to 40 as 45 is to 60. Or we can say that the product of extremes is equal to the product of means. Clear? Moving to the next one. It says, do the ratios 15 centimeter to 2 meters and 10 seconds to 3 minutes are in proportion. Now, do you see how different things we can compare when we are working with proportion? Clearly, this particular ratio, we are going to see with the length. And here what is we are dealing with is time. So we are here just comparing the ratio of length and time. And we are seeing whether it's in proportion or not. So let us find for the first one, 15 centimeter to 2 meters. Okay. So 15 centimeter to 2 meters, we are going to convert the meter to centimeter. So it will be 200. Okay. So it is 200 and this is both in centimeters. We can now simplify this. 15 when divisible by 15 gives 15 when divisible by 15 gives 1, and 15 when we divide 200 by 15 we get the answer. So let us not divide this by 15. Let us divide both these numbers by 5. Okay. So 15 when divided by 5 gives 3 as the answer. And when 200 is divided by 5, we get 40 as the answer. So this is the ratio that we have got for the 15 centimeter and 2 meters. Now the next one is 10 seconds to 3 minutes. Now we are comparing the time in seconds and minutes. So it's different units. Let's convert it to 1. So we know that in 1 minute we have got 60 seconds, right? So in order to find how many seconds are there in a minute, what do? We simply need to multiply 3 by 60. So it is 180, right? So in 3 minutes we have got 180 seconds. So 10 over 180. Now we can divide both these numbers by 10. The answer will be 1 over 18. So what do we notice? We see that 15 centimeter to 2 meter is not in proportion to 10 seconds to 3 minutes. Okay. Or how in the other way we can write it as 15 is to 200 is not equal to 10 is to 180. And see how when we are writing in ratios, we must write them in the same unit.